We'll start. I'm so excited. This actually is designed by an origami designer. Her name is Ayako Kaiwati. I've never met her, but this is just a great little, very simple to fold actually, but so cute. And the longer you make them, you can even make a pinwheel. So it's a great container, but also a bigger version just to show you. This is from a 12-inch scrapbook paper. Actually, I painted it myself because I painted one side and the other side is just the scrapbook paper, but it makes a great little pop-up book. So that's just like, you can make a really nice book out of the same model. All I did was I made two covers and I just used some book cloth and that joined them together. So basically it would be this, but you would just take the book cloth, put the covers on either side and have the book cloth. So these are very versatile and lots of fun and not too difficult to make. So I'm going to start now. So what you need, if you have double-sided paper, great. If you don't, that's quite okay, because it doesn't, you can make your own double-sided, but let's say you want the inside to be colorful and the outside white. It's just up to you, but most important is to learn how to fold it. So the hardest part of this whole thing, I think, is trying to find how to fold something into thirds. And once I folded something into thirds, I keep one as a template because I don't like doing it. It's just, for me, math-wise, if you have a perfect 6-inch square, it's easy to do it. It would be a 2-inch crease, two of these in the middle. So you could just take a ruler and mark 2 inches and 2 inches. Then you can get your fold. But most Japanese origami papers are not 6 inches. They're 5 7/8. So I guess you could just do a kind of a hair, just measure it a little bit. But I'm going to show you a way that is one way that you can find thirds. So the way you do it is you take your paper and you put it in your hands and you make an S shape. So I'm just making an S. And how I'm doing, and I'm not going to really crease it. I just want to find, as I'm making that S, I want those ends, and I want these to just lay on top of each other. And once I've got that kind of where I see that it looks like everything is laying on top of each other, this will be my thirds. I'm just going to make a little pinch. I'm not going to totally crease it yet. But you can see there's two creases or two notches right here. So I'm going to, before I go too crazy, I'm just going to fold along that notch. You're not really crease it too hard yet. I can crease it gently just to see. And it looks like it did a good job. It's now into thirds. So what I now can do is crease it really nice and strong. Give it a really crisp crease. And once I've got that, I'm going to keep that as a template. So now I have perfect thirds. So that, however you achieve to get your paper into thirds, get one sheet into a nice thirds. Like I said, I'm going to grab a little ruler real quick just to show you. Let's see what that is. And then I can always, once you know what that is, it's like, okay, let's see. That is just it's like a little tiny eighth under, it's just like a tiny little hair under that too. So in the future, I could mark it with a ruler just by taking, let me just grab a pen. If I wanted to take it and mark it. So this is just under 6 inches. When you see it's just under 6 inches, it's like an eighth under. So I can just go just a notch under 2 and another notch under 2, under the 4. And I think I should be able to make my creases. And let's just make sure. Yep, looks like that's fine. So however you make your creases. So make all of your, let's say make 5, at least 5 sheets. But maybe if you want to go for 7 to get this bigger one, do 7. So divide 7 sheets. This would just be the easiest way. Divide 7 sheets into thirds. Now that I have a template, here's how fun that is. So I just take it and I put it over, and I'm just going to make my first crease just to match the template, which makes this process so much easier. And just fold 7 of these. And it doesn't really matter which direction they are, color side up or pattern side up right now. I'm going to do another one. But this is the most tedious part of it, or the most difficult for me anyway, because I'm not a big math person. I can do origami, but it's asked me to add something. I don't know. I can't do it. So now I could just fold that over and create my third. You can always adjust if it's not perfectly third. You can tell, sometimes the sheet is too, it's not, it doesn't go far enough. You can always move your papers just a little, nudge them a little to make that third. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 sheets, and you're just basically going to fold every single one is folded exactly the same. So the first time I fold it, I'll fold it really slow, and then I'm going to do this 3 times, and you'll be able to, I'm sure you'll master it because it really is pretty easy. So if you want your color to be on the outside like that, you're going to fold it with the solid side up. So I think that's right. Yeah. So if you want whatever's on the inside of your pocket is going to be that side up. So if you have white paper, go ahead and have that white side up right now, just to, sort of look nice on the outside. So what you want to do is fold it in half. Just take it, we've got our vertical folds here, and you're just going to fold it in half, just right up in half. Maybe this pattern paper is a little difficult for you to see. I don't know. I'm going to do it instead on the solid paper or on a different kind of paper just to start, because I think you'd be able to see this better. I don't know. I hope so. Just going to fold this in half. And what you have is this, you've got 2 folds on either side. And what you want to do is just reinforce those holes or those folds. Then you're not making new folds, you're just reinforcing them. So what you're going to do is on your left side first, I always start left to go to right on this one. I'm going to take this layer, and I'm going to lift it. And it's usually you would maybe in some things you would squish it all the way down, but I'm not doing that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shift it a little bit until this top edge totally meets, kind of makes a point at this edge up here on the right side. And then when I do that, I flatten it. So I'm going to do that again on the other side so you can see it. I'm not moving. I'll just leave that there like this. I'm going to lift this part here, and I'm going to take this and I'm just going to shift it. So basically, I'm kind of rolling it, but I want this point right here to be, I just want it to I want it to come to a point before I crease. Once I get to that point, I'm not making any commitment yet, but once I see that point, then I can actually crease and lay it flat. Okay, so that's the one side. And now I'm going to turn it over. Just turn it over so that this long edge is facing away from you. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one, except this is a little different because it has a fold already. I'm just going to reinforce the folds that are already there. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my finger, I'm going to bring that little, I'm going to just open that up on the left side. And I'm going to, same thing. I'm not making new creases, except I'm not shifting anything around, except I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to roll it until it makes that point. And once I've got that point, then I crease. And the same thing on this side, the right side. I'm going to put my finger inside this paper into this top layer. And I'm going to lay it, I want that point. I want to find that point. And once I have found that point, now I'm going to crease it. And this one, sometimes for some reason on the left side, it tends to want to buckle up, and I don't know what I'm doing, why it does that, but it does. It does it every time. So if you notice that happening for you, it's just normal. So now I've got this going on. Now the next thing is I'm not changing any orientation here, but I'm going to take this top layer, this little top part here, and I'm going to fold it and tuck it right behind this part here. Just a little fold and a little tuck. And I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing on the other side. I've got this little top point here. I'm just taking it, I'm going to fold it right underneath this layer underneath. I'm just going to fold, and it kind of goes naturally. Just fold as far as you can go. You can see now I've folded these two parts here backwards. Now the next step is to take, there's actually a couple ways I like to do this. I'm just reinforcing these folds. I want to just reinforce these over by just over the edges a little. This just makes some other steps easy. Just, you can do that on both sides if you want. Just take those little folds and fold them back and forth. It just kind of, it will make it easier. And now I'm going to open that up. Just leave it like this. You've got two layers. You've got, you can see the pockets starting to form. So now I have this little top layer, this top little lip, I don't know what to call it, edge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it right. I want the crease to be right at the top, right at this part here. You can see this right at this little intersection right there on both sides. That's where I want my fold. So I'm just going to fold it. I don't want to go farther. I want to just go right to that intersection. I'm going to fold the same thing on the other side. Okay, so what I have now is this. So I folded these two. So that's about less than an inch of a kind of a hem. And then the next step and the last step for this is to take what's already there. If you open it up a little bit and just tuck it in, since we've already made those creases, you're just going to tuck that inside and just on both sides, you're tucking these two sides, just to kind of reverse that crease and tuck it in. And then what you should have is this. So that is one unit. And you can make, we'll make two more so I can show you how to assemble. But we'll go again. So this is number one. And then we'll do a number two. I'm just going to take this one. I'm going to fold, let's see, not that one. Yeah, I could do that. No, I'm going to take this one because I want to assemble one that's going to be just what would be nice to assemble. Okay, this one. Okay, now if I want my color to be the solid color to be on the outside or the white, I'm going to fold it with my pattern side up. So I'm going to fold it in half. And it's kind of nice to alternate them. If you can see how I did with the solid and the pattern, it just makes it more fun. So fold it in half with your vertical, your third folds vertical. And if you have, like, I just kind of need to adjust that a little bit. It's not exactly even. There we go. I'm just going to reinforce the folds on the right and the left sides, not making new ones. And I'm going to take this top layer and I'm going to shift it enough and just find that point. And the best place is when you find that, once you find it, put your finger on it and then just bring your thumb and crease it all the way outward. So I've got that one side done. And I'm going to open it up. On this right side, the same thing. I'm going to open and find that point. Just lay my finger, run my finger until that point is started. And then I'm going to run my finger all the way, not creating new creases. And for some reason, the right side likes to buckle. And it's not, I don't know what the heck I do, but it does that. So just go ahead and do the best you can to get that. I don't know why it does that. It's some scientific thing, and I don't know what it is. Because I do the exact same thing on the other side, but for some reason it likes to buckle. But I just push it out, and it seems to work. There's probably some reason. So now I've got these sides. I'm going to turn them over, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just reinforce that fold a little, just makes it easier. Start with the left side, make your point, and then just make the crease and have this little part out like this. And the last part of this is to make a point on this side. Now this should be a little easier. It shouldn't buckle as much. There we are. So now I've got that. Then the next step is usually what I like to do is to reinforce these, just kind of fold it back and forth on itself so that it just makes that last step when you're tucking it in easier. Just right along the outer edge of the this rectangle shape here. Now I'm going to take these top parts and make little hems, little grab handles. These are the grab handles. I'm just going to find this part right here, and I'm just going to make that crease, not going over that, but just right to meet it. And the same thing on the other side. Oh, well, you know what? I forgot something, and you probably caught me there. I forgot to fold these little points, these loose points. And if I hadn't, I always notice if I'm doing something wrong because it feels differently. So I forgot the step of folding these little points backwards. These help to lock everything in place. And I knew it wasn't going to work that way. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this piece back. Now I'm ready. Now I can go ahead and refold. So I didn't, ruin anything. I just had to backwards, pick up a step that I lost. And then I'm going to fold this piece. And the last part is to take these little parts and move them, tuck them in. And if you need to use your bone folder, that's okay too. Depending on the paper you have. Sometimes these take a little bit of kind of pushing in, especially in that corner. Now I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to open it up and see how everybody's doing. So I'm going to do another, let's say I'm going to do another one like this, you can see. So remember, we have our thirds going vertically, and I'm going to fold it in half. And on the left side, you can fold it, I always like to do this first, make those creases just to reinforce it. And that just makes everything easier just to give that. You can do it on both sides. It also doesn't hurt to do it on both sides, which will make your accordion a lot more bouncy. So now I've got these, and I'm going to start with my left side and make the point. Make that little corner, get that corner into a point, and then just fold it down. I'm going to do the same thing on the right side. Fold that little point, and then bring it down. And I'm going to turn it over. And we'll take the left side, that left flap, open it up, and just bring that little corner. Now, if you like here, I didn't do the corner right, so I'm just going to shift it until there it is a perfect point, or as close to perfect as you can get. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it does help to have all of these folded exactly the same way, so that when you're putting it together, it'll look really good. So I'm going to fold it up, make my little point. Okay, got it. Now, while everything's here, I'm going to take this top layer and just fold it behind so that it kind of tucks behind that. And I'll do the same on the other side. And then the last part is to get these to tuck in. So folding them back and forth. Oops. I have a cat again that's giving me a hard time. Hi, Tails. All right. Get these tucked in. And we'll just, not going to tuck them in yet. Sorry. So where that little part is, right where that intersection is where you just folded, you're just going to make that little hem, which is the handles, and do that on the other side. And then the very last is to tuck it in. And everything should just go in nicely with those pre-creases. Okay, so I'm going to see how you're doing. How's everybody doing?
Not good here.
Okay, Cheryl. Okay, so let's see where are you stuck? How you doing? Did you do all right, Elaine?
You got to the third step.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The third step. You mean the third step in one of these?
When
Go
it's
in
like
half, and then the corner. When you do the corner.
Okay. So, and how did Denise? How did you do? Oops, I'm sorry, gotta unmute. Sorry, Denise, I can't hear you because you're muted. There you are.
I did okay. I did okay. I've got 3 pieces.
So you're ready, got 3 units?
Yes.
Okay, so keep folding along with this, then you're gonna get 5 and you'll have a bigger one. So,
Okay.
anyone else, and who did we, okay, Pat, how did you do? She got her units. Okay, so keep fold along and I'm gonna go, so where did you get stuck on yours, Elaine and Cheryl?
When you go in half.
Yeah.
And then you do that,
That little pivot.
the
Okay.
left to the,
It's
yeah.
a pivot move and I'll show you
Do the
again.
pivot slow.
It's a pivot thing. I'll go real slow. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna go ahead and just grab a piece of paper. Let's see if I want to get a patterned one. Okay, now I'm gonna fold it in half after I've done my thirds. Okay, and what you do is you should reinforce those, you just reinforce your vertical folds just to make your pivot move easier. And I'm gonna start this one. I'm gonna go real slow. So I'm taking my left third, if that makes sense. And I'm lifting it up. And what I'm doing is you know how it has, you want to open and collapse this.
Yeah.
But you don't want to collapse it. Normally we would just collapse straight over, you know, but you're going to pivot it. You're just going to take your fingers. So let you go ahead and start the move so that your mountain folds right over this part here. But what you're doing is you're just going to shift your fingers until that edge goes right to that top edge and makes a point. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you just take your whole finger and just flatten it. So now it's kind of an angular, it's an angled triangle shape. You can shift it. You can actually adjust that fold, but you want one of this. You want it to look like this. Are you with me on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The point is on the second fold to the right.
So your point is is right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now you're going to repeat the same thing on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
And just going to, to make this easier, you just kind of drop that, get that, you're almost like you're going to crease it. And then you're just going to take your hand and just pivot to the right. And then you find your point and then press. Does that? So tell me if you got there.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
How about you, Elaine?
Got it.
Are you there? Yay.
Yep.
Okay. Turn the whole thing over. Just turn it over so that the top, raw edge is facing away from you. And you have your little angled edges towards you.
Yeah.
You're going to do the same exact thing. You're just going to take your top. You might just need to reinforce those vertical folds again because I need to do that. Just going to reinforce those.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can get that. Find that third again. Okay. So now when you've done that, just take your finger, do the same thing like you were going to open it up and flatten it and just pivot to the right. On this one, you're pivoting to the right and you'll flatten it into a point. And then this on the right side, you'll do the same thing where you open it up and you just take your pivot and move it to the left until that point is made. And now you should look like that.
Yep.
Yay. All right. Now the next step is this little top layer. See this little point that's sticking out because how we just folded it, your left is under your right. So this little point that's facing to my left is going to have to be tucked behind at this angle. Just tuck it right behind. So now so basically I just tucked it right inside here. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing on the other side. So now, are you here?
Yep.
Okay. Now the next step is you're going to make a hem on the top, on both flaps, right at this intersection, basically where these points meet, where these little edges meet.
Mhm.
And I just make that crease right along that edge. And that's about half, well, a little over half an inch, maybe almost 3/4. And
Okay.
just go ahead and crease that and do the same on the other side. And
Okay.
you got it? We're good? Okay, next step is just to take these little, looks like little angled edges. You want them to fold them right along that vertical, that first, just get that crease right along those sides so that you can tuck
Yep.
in, poke them in a little easier. And what you
Mhm.
do is you then take it and open it up a little and just tuck those in. Just reverse the center fold and you can get that tucked right in. And sometimes, like mine is being a little fussy, I just take my bone folder tool and just kind of crease it in the center. That helps to collapse it in there. Same thing with the other side, and then you should be all done. How
Can
did
we
it go?
Another one?
Did you get it?
Yeah, can we make another one?
Of course, because we're gonna, the more we make, the bigger it gets. Okay, so I'm gonna make another one,
Okay.
and then we'll put them together. And that's gonna be the fun part. Of course, they're all fun. Let's see, we've got blue. I think I'll do this one.
You're
So
fine.
right now I think I'll take this yellow and make this happen.
Hmm.
You've got your thirds, fold them in half. Wasn't that nice to have those thirds out of the way? Because those are the most tedious.
Yeah.
Now we're just going to fold these, just kind of reinforce the fold you just made. And take your finger on the left one, start with your left, take your finger, put your finger inside that pocket, and then just start to flatten it, but don't flatten it yet, and then pivot it towards your left, towards the left of it until your point is made. And then once you've made that point, go ahead and crease. Oops, I didn't make my point. I have to go farther. There it is. Now crease it. Same with the right side. Open it up, put your finger inside, start to lay it flat, and then just pivot towards the right until you've got the crease, the point. Now we turn it over and repeat on the other side, except it's a different shape, of course. I'm just going to reinforce the folds along that those vertical folds. And I'm going to start with my left to right always. With my left side, I'm going to put my finger inside and I'm going to pivot to the right to make the crease. And I'm opening up the right side, ready to get squishing it, but pivoting it to the left and fold. Now that I'm going to take the top little pocket or top flap here, and I'm going to just tuck it right inside. Just fold that as far as it will go. And I'm going to turn it over and do the same on the other side. And next step is making the hem, which you'll know it starts right at that little intersection here. And do that on both sides. Okay. Last step, last but not least, is to get these little pockets inside. So I just, go ahead and make those little folds to make it easier. And then open up, it's like a little box, an angular box. And then just take your finger or your bone folder and tuck it inside as far as it will go. The cleaner, the better, just to make it easier to assemble. Okay, the fun part. I can't wait. This is my favorite part. Assembly. Are you ready? Do you have at least 3?
Yes.
All right.
You two.
So you have 2. Okay, keep going.
Okay.
Get a third, make a third one because, but I wanted to show
Yeah.
how to assemble these and then we'll
Mhm.
get going.
Okay.
So these are so pretty. This one's going to be cute because it's has strawberries and I don't remember where I got these. I think I might have gotten them in Japan a long, long time ago, but I'm sure they're around. Somebody's still making them. But I love double-sided paper. And if you don't have double-sided paper, I also made that I can make it, which it's a little tedious, but you can actually spray it with, depends on the paper you have though, but you can create your own double-sided paper by stamping on one side or spraying a little color or doing some drawing, all kinds of ways to make double-sided paper. But it's nice that they make it like this. So now we're going to assemble the units. So the way these work is, if you can see, I'm just going to take 2 of them. And if you turn them upside, like basically turn one basically opposite of each other.
Mhm.
So you basically have, these are little tabs, and these right here are pockets. So
Ah.
if you can see, that is a pocket, and these are the tabs. So what first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slide the tab into the first pocket. It doesn't matter which, just into the pocket. I'm sliding it in, and now I need to get this tab into this pocket. So however you do it, it depends on the papers. Sometimes I need a little, sometimes it's just a matter of getting your fingers or using a bone folder to get that in, but you just want to slide that tab into that pocket. And sometimes like this one, I think I need to just bend it a little bit. It's just enough to get it in there. There we are. Now, once I've done that, I can adjust it until everything is slid all the way in. So I've got my first set is together. You can see it's together.
Mm.
Okay, see how they attach just by that. And if you want to reinforce it with a little glue later, but this is not a good time right now while you're learning it. But if you wanted to put some glue on the tips, that will really hold it together, especially if you're using it as a book. So now I'm going to do another one. I'm going to take my units here, and I'm going to slide this little tab right into this pocket. Go all the way up as much as far as I can, and then I'm going to take this tab and slide it. And just kind of just manipulate it until you get those edges into that pocket, and then it kind of slides together just really nice. And then just adjust it. And now you can see I've got two containers, or one container if you turn it upside down, but I've got that one is with 3 pieces. And to continue, you just continue by adding new ones. So always start just basically the opposite of the last one. I'm just going to do the pocket, slide these little tabs into the pockets. And if you wanted to reinforce it like right now, you could even put like some tape or something to hold that. But really, it's just nice to have, it's nice to, as you're learning, to be able to move it around. And you can also take it apart and rearrange it, or decide what other color combinations you want. So I need another one to make it a 3 container one. So it's always the odd numbers. See, I'm going to use this one. So let's see, I'm going to go ahead and do the opposite. So it really doesn't matter which side, or if you decide to start with the top, that's okay. Just putting those tabs into those pockets. And if you want, you can even angle if it's too hard, you can even just fold it just at a little angle to get that inside. I really find I've never had to, but I would think with certain papers, it may be. Some papers have a little rougher finish and they don't slide as easy. And I'm just going to slide this bottom part in. Okay, so now I've got a 5-part, which is, I've got these 3. So if I keep going, so this is 5 pieces. So if I could do 7, it can do 7. Now that I've got these guys are together, I'm going to try to assemble the last part is to get these guys in there. Come on, let's do it. This is probably the trickiest part. It's just getting that without tearing the rest of them apart. There we are. And then this goes in this pocket. And come on, let's go, go, go. And go in their pocket. Oh, goodness, I got it. I got it. Okay. Ta-da! Da, 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 da. Did it.